Hi, welcome to Casual Yelling, a conversational podcast now with 85% yelling. I'm Matt Elfring. Welcome to a special episode because I don't have anybody to interview. I kind of wanted to talk about something that was important to me over WrestleMania weekend, and that was Threads, the Meta-owned social media company that has kind of like replaced Twitter in a sense, right? Not fully replaced Twitter, but that's kind of where the community is for wrestling fans and community for anybody. So let's just kick it off. I want to say, not sponsored. This is in no way sponsored by Threads or the Noid from Domino's Pizza. Again, if I'm talking about the Noid, Yo Noid is right there in the background. If you're watching, if this is the audio version, you can't see any of this. We are talking about how Threads and my experience on Threads during WrestleMania weekend was. And I'm going to start right off by talking about Twitter. For a long time, Twitter was a great place for a community, a great place to talk about wrestling, to talk about anything you liked. There was hashtags, and if you were all experiencing the same thing, like a American Idol or a TV show or a movie, and you wanted to talk about those things, it was great to find that community. Then Elon Musk bought it. Elon Musk, very quickly, quick backstory. I was a verified journalist on Twitter for a long time. I worked at Comic Vine, GameSpot. They were originally owned by Whiskey Media. Well, Comic Vine was originally owned by Whiskey Media. We went over to CBS Interactive along, and GameSpot was already there. And sold off to a company. When you're verified there, it's kind of important because Twitter is saying you are who you are. You're that person. Whether or not you're a trusty source or whatever is, but as a journalist, it's important because you know the person behind that account is saying what they're saying, who they are. There's no not being anonymous there, and that wasn't an important part of Twitter for a long time. And then Elon Musk came in, is just like anybody who pays me money is verified, and they can be anonymous. And my my verified account was taken away, which all in all, not a big deal because Twitter at that point was kind of like a sinking ship. And so for me, I didn't know where to go social media wise. I rejoined Facebook, but only because I was missing out on summer party invites from friends. They'd be like, why didn't you show up to the barbecue? And I'd be like, well, I'm not on Facebook. So I joined Blue Sky. I joined Spoutable. I was late to Threads. I tried to join Mastodon, which is just chaotic Discord to me. Blue Sky wasn't Blue Sky isn't great to me. I don't feel like there's a sense of community or anything like that. Uh, Spoutable was trying to be what Twitter was, and I don't think it did a great job at it. And that brought us to Threads. My first impressions of Threads was not good. I hated it. As someone who does podcast producing professionally and this show, which is not very professional, I found myself engrossed in like this weird marketing B2B LinkedIn side of podcasting where all my everything I was seeing in my feed was like, how do you grow and market your podcast? Leave a message and a like, and they'll tell you how. It was all this like engagement bullshit. Like they're posting things purely for engagement. And it's so insincere and so disingenuous that I got very upset about it because I hate LinkedIn. I think if you know me, you would know I hate LinkedIn. I find it to be disingenuous, insincere. It's all about visibility is you and your brand, which I know this is a brand. I know Casual Yelling is a brand, but it's my brand. I'm not representing something bigger. I'm not really trying to make money off of you. By the way, subscribe to my Patreon. You get videos early. Sometimes you get breakfast lasagna videos. What's breakfast lasagna? Good idea. That's a whole segment on the show. Anyway, I hated Threads at first off. And I thought WrestleMania is coming up. What do I do for WrestleMania? Because I can't be on Twitter. And I love chatting to a community of people. But where do I find that community of people? This brings us to the whole idea of engagement, which is important and stupid at the same time. Because engagement is important for you to be visible on the internet. I feel like such a weirdo getting into this part, but I really want to be in a community of like-minded people. I want to be able to see what they're messaging and tweeting or posting or whatever, threading. That sounds dumb. I want to see what they're posting. I want to find like-minded individuals. I want to follow them. I want to see what they're posting. I guess vice versa from other people. But I want people to see what I'm posting because I think I'm funny sometimes. I sometimes crack a joke, and that dopamine hit in your brain when someone likes what you post is it feels really good. On Blue Sky, if I don't post that type of stuff, I get like one like or something. Hi, Wyatt Sinclair, famous baker who liked my things on there. No one else did. And it's not like I'm posting out of the ordinary things. Same stuff I'm doing on Twitter, which would get the same amount of likes. Same. I really feel dirty talking about engagement. I really, really do. But it's important when you're trying to make like a little extra money on the side while you're writing or while you're doing anything. I hate the term side hustle because this is fun for me. This isn't a side hustle. Anyway, engagement. I keep getting off tropic, off Star Tropics. I keep getting off Star Tropics, not sponsored. And engagement is important because I want to find those like-minded individuals. It's not so much about visibility for me. It's just as much about finding those individuals. So let's just go right to WrestleMania night. 2-part night, WrestleMania XL, WrestleMania Extra Large. And I'm just posting jokes and quips like I normally would. I'm not hashtagging anything. I'm not tagging anybody. I'm just sending my stuff out into the ether, hoping someone sees it. Not even hoping someone sees it. I'm there to amuse myself. You know, WrestleMania XL is brought to you by drinks because all of their advertisements was drinks, and it was super duper weird. It felt like UFC, which makes sense because TKO owns UFC and WWE. So I'm hosting just a lot of fun things. Not really making fun of wrestling, but just talking about wrestling and how silly and wonderful it is at the same time. It's medieval times with a bigger budget. I don't like comparing it to medieval times, but that's the idea. You're getting this wonderfully staged production filled with athleticism, filled with skill and talent. Yes, things are predetermined. They're usually not really hitting each other unless something has gone horribly wrong. But it's a beautiful stunt show. That's what wrestling is to me. It's filled with awesome storylines. Medieval Times has storylines. It's filled with wild and wonderful characters. Medieval Times Green Knight is the best because he's the one everyone hates, except for me. I love the Green Knight. And you're getting such a value from wrestling that you don't get from other properties. I love Fast and the Furious movies. I love bad action movies, just overall. But I have to wait and wait and wait to get more. Now, wrestling isn't on the same. We'll just say WWE for the sake of all of this. That's what we're talking about is WWE. It's not on the same level as Fast and the Furious because they don't have like the CG budget or the over edited or just edited, I should say, scripts that WWE has. WWE is kind of flying by their pants, the heels of their feet. Is that the term? I don't know. I'm doing this all unscripted, so I'm just kind of going for it. But WWE does one thing great, and it's just continuing storylines, keeping me engaged week after week. And I will 1,000,000% admit, after I was laid off from GameSpot, I know I'm shutting up about it, which was January 2023. Uh, I lost interest in wrestling after I went to the Royal Rumble. It was like my kind of last thing with GameSpot after they did like a bunch of mass layoffs. And after that Royal Rumble, I became disenchanted with wrestling. I've been covering it for years. I've interviewed dozens upon maybe 100 wrestlers over that time, some of which on the podcast Wrestle Buddies, some of which on paper, paper for GameSpot. And even now, I'm still interviewing wrestlers on occasion for this show, mainly Serpentico, because for buddies. I couldn't watch week to week because it hurt remembering that was part of my job. I kind of came back for this year's Royal Rumble because Royal Rumble is my favorite thing. It's just a wonderful, silly thing that I enjoy watching every year. And then I decided I can't skip WrestleMania. I may not be as caught up on storylines, but luckily Peacock in between segments kind of catches you up on everything. And I had become not only disenchanted because of work with WWE, I had become annoyed with the production where it's like shaky cam every time, so and it just cuts left and right, left and right. Oh, cut, oh, smash. It was chaotic watching those camera movements. It was production sucked. That's just kind of how it was at that time. And also Vince's storylines, the storylines under Vince McMahon weren't great. They weren't. I wasn't into them that much towards the end. It felt repetitive. It felt there wasn't a lot of new going into the product. We talk about the Triple H era. When Triple H was running NXT, like that was my jam. Like it was a lot of trial and error, and there was a lot of success that came out of that, and it was fantastic. That first like few years of NXT. Hey, editor Matt, jumping right in really, really, really quick. I don't give Dusty Rhodes any credit here, and I really should because Dusty Rhodes was such a pivotal part of the early NXT days. So, yes, Triple H, yes, Shawn Michaels, yes, Dusty Rhodes. Bye. Even after that, NXT remained to me, a viable product up until it kind of became a third brand, which is fine. That people really love NXT as a third brand. For me, I've fallen through the wayside. So we're still on the topic of WrestleMania night, and I haven't gotten in there. I haven't gotten into the idea of WrestleMania night and me on Threads. Again, we'll go back to all that. When Triple H took over, which was not that long ago, things had slowly been changing. The production had changed, and it had become something I wanted to watch a little bit more and more. I watched Royal Rumble. I watched a few Raws here and there. But WWE was becoming a product that I wanted to watch again. So we get to WrestleMania. I'm on Threads just trying to have fun because I don't want to go back to Twitter. I'm not going back to Twitter for WrestleMania. My account over there is locked. I'm not trying to post anything there. But I want to talk to that community. Strangers. I want to talk to strangers. We all enjoy the same thing, and nothing makes me happier than being a part of a community where we can all enjoy something together at the same time. And that's why I just decided to go full in on Threads because I didn't know any wrestling people on Blue Sky. And I could immediately tell that like wrestling Threads was fun. It's what Twitter used to be. I'd find myself engaging with a lot of people that I liked and a lot of people that had the same interests as me, people that were new to wrestling, people that have been watching forever, people that like WWE, people like AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA, NWA, GCW, like I could go on and on naming wrestling promotions. Big Battle Kaiju. Is that what it's called? I forgot. Where the kaiju monsters fight each other. I was having a good time on Wrestling Threads night 1 and night 2. I'm just making dumb jokes like The Rock and Undertaker are living under the ring. I'm just having fun. Much like watching WrestleMania is fun. Watching R-Truth and The Miz win tag team championships in a ladder match, that was fun. It made me very happy. And I want to bring that happiness onto a social media platform where I can engage with others. I've said it about 1 billion times already. And that's what I got. I got to talk to new people. I got to have those people talk back to me. I followed a bunch of people, and I liked seeing that community. It made me really, really, really happy. Now let's get into the weirdos. My first rule of social media is block, 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 block. 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 Just block people that suck. For years on Twitter, when people would have something hateful to say to me, this is primarily when I was a comic book journalist. I'd write a comic book review when comic book journalism was like a big deal. As big as it could be that's a whole other story. I'd write a comic book review and then someone would like threaten me, or I'd say anything about women. Comicsgate would yell at me because internet. Hey, editor Matt jumping in once again. When I say anything about women, I mean anything positive about women because Comicsgate was a hateful place for women in the industry. And when you defended any female creator, you would get pounced on by these horrible, garbage, misogynist people. That's what I mean when I say anything about women. Bye. And I would engage with these people, which I quickly learned, like, I'm spending my day talking to like people whose mind you can't change. They are angry people on the internet. So why am I bothering doing this? So my motto became block. If you're if you're just coming at me aggressively on social media, you're done. You're blocked. Bye. I did get some of that on Threads. Uh, when I said The Rock and Undertaker are hiding under the ring, people are like, no, they walked off. Like, and that's not coming at me aggressively, but I understand what they're saying. You know, like it's just very much like, no, let me explain to you how wrestling works. And those people can be amongst those other people. But to me, I don't want you reading my stuff because you don't get what I'm doing. I'm just having fun. And if you are way too serious about me sending out a message joking that The Rock and Undertaker are living under the ring together forever, I don't think you're going to get what I'm doing. And you shouldn't just see any of my stuff anymore. You're never going to like what I post. Sorry. But then there were people who were just straight up like, oh, you like WrestleMania? Why don't you watch AEW? I love wrestling. There are things I prefer in wrestling and things I don't like. Do I like AEW? Yeah. Do I like WWE? Yeah. Do I like them for the same reason? No. I like them for very different reasons. They are almost opposites for me, you know, like, but they both bring something to the table. Again, I could talk about the other promotions as well, but that's a whole other thing. I don't like the nonstop conversation of like AEW is better than WWE. They're two separate things. Shut up. Just let people enjoy what they enjoy. You spend there are people that love WWE, people that love AEW that spend their entire week and days and hours and months talking about how much they don't like the other product. Why? Why are you spending all your time on this? It's pointless. Anyway, block. So that was, I dealt with weirdos on a go. We all deal with weirdos, but I want to talk about the overall community of wrestling Threads. It's great. It turned me around on Threads because I thought Threads was just a place for awful LinkedIn people to try to be like, your podcast growth could be 20% more if you just engage with this thread so I can get more followers and more eyes on my things. It's not that. Uh, you have to curate it. That's the thing. So when I was talking about WrestleMania and posting Threads, I wasn't hashtagging anything. I wasn't tagging anyone. I was just sending out my post into the world. Did I expect anybody to reply to any of them or like any of them? Not at all. I don't particularly care. I'm doing it for me, but once I found out there were other people that really enjoyed wrestling in the same way that I did, like it was cool to talk to people back and forth and follow people. I'm like, oh, you get it. Like we're here to have fun. You know, Cody Rhodes winning the championship was super touching. Except to the guy who told me like, "Ooh, emotions. You like emotions in wrestling?" And blocked. Don't disparage anything anybody likes as long as it's like not ethically or morally awful. Do I like seeing someone that's fought so hard for a championship title crying? Do I enjoy that? Like when they've worked so hard for it? Yeah, I do. That's the end of the story. That's the end of his story. That's great to watch. That's awesome. You can't give me a lot of that, but you can give me a little bit of that, and it'll make me really, really, really happy. If you give me a lot of it, I'm completely desensitized to it. So don't desensitize me, but give me great ends to great stories. We all kind of knew Cody Rhodes was going to win. Not knew, but like assumed. We assumed he was going to win. But when he did, it still was great. I still loved it. The whole community loved it. We'd all like each other's posts and like talk to each other about it, and it felt really good. It felt good to be a part of a wrestling community when I live in a house where my son likes wrestling, but he's asleep, and my wife is like Roman Reigns is hot. I understand that. he is attractive. I'll give you that. And also, call guys hot in wrestling. I don't care. Call the girls beautiful. I don't care. But I liked being surrounded by people that appreciated essentially what the art of wrestling is. And I think the art of wrestling is a Colt Cabana podcast. But wrestling is an art. It's an art. It's a sport. It's athleticism. It's acting. It is one of the most, and if you're not a wrestling fan, you're going to be mad at this. One of the most complex art forms for an individual, as well as a whole. You're adding so much to a product, to a TV show that you don't see anywhere else. And so much of it is on the fly. Like, that's nuts. That's kind of why I love wrestling. It's so much putting together with so little time to do it. Yes, I know Triple H said that WrestleMania was booked in like October, but there's still a lot to do. You've got to build to those points. And they did it. That's great, right? I think we're done here. I think this is it. Wrestling Threads is really, really good. As long as you curate that community. That's all you've got to do. You've got to find the people you like, follow them, interact with them, like their messages, and anybody that sucks or anybody that rubs you the wrong way, just block them. Don't engage. Block them. And then your feed becomes happier. Your feed becomes more what you want. Are you creating a bubble? Yeah. Do you want to have a bubble on social media? Why not? It's your social media. Why should you have to see people's opinions that you just despise? And when I say despise, I'm mainly talking about like WWE's better, AEW's better. I don't want to see that. That's me personally. If you want to see that kind of like that conversation and want to engage in that conversation, please do. Do I want to see it? No, not at all. But that's me. We all have differences in opinions. I want to see fun. I want to see joy. I want to see emotion. I want to see people loving wrestling. That's what I want. You may not want that. Perfectly fine. Curate it to be what you want it to be. That's it. What time do I got? All right. This was good, right? If you like what I do you like this? I don't know. I hope you liked this. You're probably new to this Casual Yelling show because it's just a hodgepodge of interviews I've done for the past few months. Patreon.com/I'm Matt Elfring. It's free to sign up and you get, everything I post on there. It's writing. You don't get the videos. I mean, and the audio you can get through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that jazz. Released weekly, sometimes Tuesday, sometimes Friday. I'm very bad about being timely about this because I don't get paid to do it. But if you subscribe to Patreon for, I think it's like $5 a month or something, you get the video series, Breakfast Lasagna, where the people that I interview week to week have to answer a question for me. You get the video versions of this, which is Casual Yelling / Yelling Casually, either a week early or just the video versions. That's it. Yelling Casually doesn't usually go to YouTube. And Yelling Casually is just me talking about a particular subject. And Casual Yelling, the interview podcast, eventually goes to YouTube, but it primarily stays on site. If you want to watch a video, I don't know. Anyways, that's Casual Yelling. The outro music, which you're about to hear, I think I'm just going to tell you. The song's called Gilded Age. It's by The Muggles, featuring Tom Wanderer on vocals, Will Ash on bass. No, Will Ash is on guitar. Always forget that. Andrew Parks on bass, and me, I'm Matt Elfring on drums. You can find the vinyl record of that on muggles.bandcamp.com. It was a studio album recorded in 2003, which we released in 2023, even though we haven't talked to each other in 20 years. It's a good album. I like it. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week when I'm interviewing someone else. Who knows? Thanks for watching. Bye, Wrestling Threads community. You're great.